This meeting's called to order for the City of Reno City Council for 6 p.m. for July 13th, 2015. This time I'd like for everybody to rise and for our invocation by Mr. Mike Sims.
If you wonder why I'm doing this, I'm not a citizen of Reno. I was for 18 years. And then my in-laws gave us some land out of it. And so we moved out there. But for many, many years, I was a citizen of this community and enjoyed living in Reno. It was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago, I worked at a Walmart pharmacy, and we have a door that rolls down to secure the pharmacy. I worked about 11 hours that day. It was time to close up and go home. And the door broke. And so we called for a repairman, and Bart came out at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and I was his assistant. And we got out of there about 10 o'clock that night. And at that time, we got to visit and chat and talk. And I had just come back from a medical mission trip to Honduras. We took 71 people, Baptist, Methodist, and Presbyterians. We had doctors, nurses, dentists, veterinarians, pharmacists, lots of helpers. And we spent a lot of great time that week. About 4.5 hours up in the mountains in Honduras. You should feel blessed to live in a city like Reno, Texas. They are so poor, but they don't really realize what we have that they don't have. There are no gutters. There are no paved roads. There are no stop signs. There are no speed limit signs. There's barely restrooms. And they're not equipped the way we're used to having restrooms. We saw 3,000 people in 3 days. Filled 15,000 prescriptions. Had a closed ministry. Besides the medical ministry, we had a closed ministry, a shoe ministry, a addiction ministry, and a children's ministry. The last night, and we had revival every night in a huge tent with one string of lights going right down the middle. It wasn't well lit like this room. One string of lights going down the middle. The last night, they brought all the kids in, the little kids. They had some little tambourines and strings on them. They had balloons aired up in the shape of stars. And they sang this little loud night. It's very touching. This city can be a city on a hill. The city of Reno, Texas can be a city on a hill and when its light shine. So I'd like to open this in prayer. My Father, we'd ask that you would be here tonight, that your presence would be felt, that everything that's said and done would be not politically correct or for personal gain, but it would be for the betterment of this community. That families would have a safe place to live, businesses would be a place where they could be successful, and the members of this community could be proud of their city. We would ask that you would use the knowledge and wisdom of these council members and the decisions that they have to make tonight. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Roll call.
Joey McCarthy.
Here.
Brandon Thomas.
Here.
Rick Jordan.
Here.
Tom Brandenburg.
Here.
Amanda Willows.
Here.
Let the record show, all members present. Also present, Mayor Bart Chaton, City Attorney David Hamilton, and City Secretary Kara Hubbard taking the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, there's nobody signed in under citizen comments.
Okay. At this time, I would like to recognize Mr. Walter Cooper for his dedication to the City Council from 2011 to 2015. I have a plaque in appreciation of your dedicated service, Mr. Cooper.
What, you still? Hold on. Well, I gotta get it all the way over there too. It's as smart as I am. I mean, look at me. Well, stand up. Okay, there you go. Gotcha.
Thank you.
I'd also like to express our condolences for the loss of Roy Sparks, a longtime city council member that we lost in the city. He was an upstanding citizen of ours. Item number 7, public hearing, discuss action on a zone change at 299 Town East Drive from R1 residential to a multifamily MF1 as requested by Charles McNeil. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:08 p.m.
There's, Mr. Attorney, there's a sign-up sheet. Is anybody out there to sign up to speak for
Well, let
this
me
public
look.
hearing? There's 3 more sign-in
Only
sheets.
4 pages after that. I just do one at a time.
Thank you.
Okay. What was the address again, Mr. Mayor?
299 Town East Drive.
There are 5 people signed up to present on that public hearing.
It's open for discussion.
My name is Debbie Offit Hallowell, and I live directly across the street from her property.
What's your address? I'm sorry. What's your address?
305.
305
Town
Town East.
East.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I am definitely against the zone change. When I moved into my property 5 years ago, it's all landlords that are around me, and I like that because I feel comfortable and I feel safe. The tenants around me that are not homeowners, I've actually had trouble with it, where I call the police department and request assistance, and I've just, had situations like that. I'm a single woman, I live there by myself, and I'm really, really not comfortable with the idea of a triplex being put in directly across the street, because it's directly across the street from my property. I would have 3 doors right in front of my place, and so that's going to be high traffic as far as people moving in and out. Like I said, I feel safe knowing that I know my neighbors. They've lived there beside me for 5 years. And the other thing that I would be concerned about would be dogs, because there's not going to be a yard. And really, to be honest, I'm terrified of dogs. The other issue is that my driveway is like right here, and the driveway that he wants to put in is going to be about where you guys are at. So, I mean, that's going to be like, let's say 2 cars for each unit, that's gonna be 6 cars. And our driveways are just way too close for that level of activity every morning and every evening, and so to speak. The other issue that I'm really concerned about is a lot of water sits right in my driveway when it rains. And if this property is built up at all, and I mean, there's no room for play as far as where the pedal is at. I mean, it's right up to my grass line. So I'm really concerned that if he builds on higher ground, that it could affect my property. And so I'm just very concerned about that. I really am not comfortable with the idea of a rotating tenants moving in and out of there, all strangers that I have to deal with on a daily basis or weekly. I know me, and I know that I bought my home in Reno, and all of my neighbors were homeowners. And to change it up now, I'm really not comfortable with that. So I just want to ask for your help in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's everyone?
Good day.
My name is Chris Vaughn. I live at 275 Town East Drive, which is basically going to be directly across the road from the residence where they're trying to change the zoning to a triplex. Some things that I hope that you will consider. My wife and I, we work very hard for what we have. We have our own little slice of the American dream. We own our home, and we're raising a family in a quiet neighborhood where we feel safe, valued, and welcome. And it's kind of scary, someone trying to make money, is trying to ruin our dream of home, family, and neighborhood by trying to build a triplex right next door to where I live, and right in the middle of our neighborhood. The main reason that we bought our property on 275 Town East Drive, we looked all over Paris. But those homes in that little area are spaced kind of far away from each other. You can hold your arms out and not touch the other house. So that was one of the things that really attracted us to that area. I've been living in that area for 15 years, 15-year resident. I'm blessed to live in an area where I have good neighbors. Everybody, there are kids there, and people are vested in this area. We look out for each other. It's our neighborhood. We even have our own little neighborhood watch group. When someone's gone, we watch it. If anybody strange comes up, we're making notes. So we have each other's number. We call each other. There are kids in our neighborhood. They ride their bikes up and down the road all the time. We don't worry about them because we know everybody that's there. And that really makes a difference in the place that you're going to be for the rest of your lives. How do you treat a neighborhood? You treat a place where you know that you're going to be living for the rest of your life differently than somewhere where you're only going to be temporary. You care how the area looks. You know the people around you, and you form relationships with them. And this is one of the things that scares me because I trust everyone that lives around me. A number of years ago, there were some apartments before you get to our house. There were some young men living there, and all of a sudden our little road became as busy as a Sonic drive-through. So it was very obvious the things that were going on there. There were people coming up and down the road at all hours of the night, and they weren't friendly. And they would always turn around in our little driveway, and sure enough, every morning they've thrown trash out there. We got to go out there and get it. Well, they also had a pit bulldog there, and I love working in the yard. Everybody used to be out in my yard. So I was out there working in my flower bed, and I could feel something kind of creeping up on me. So I looked back, and here comes this pit bulldog. So I have dogs. So I just kind of got up and didn't really look at it. I was going to walk back to my house. Well, he started chasing me. So I had to run and jump up on my truck because this was his watchdog. Well, I'm thinking I have a 10-year-old son, and what if he was out there in that yard, when he was a baby during that time? I probably wouldn't be here talking to y'all because I'd probably be in jail or something, if this dog had bit my son. One of the things that was posed when we met before the zoning committee is someone asked the gentleman who's trying to do this, would you want this next to your house? He said no. And so we're like, well, if he wouldn't want this triplex next door to his house, why would he think that we would want this right in the middle of our neighborhood? One of the things that you also, I hope you will consider, is the drainage of this area. They're going to have to build this up. And where is this water going to go? It's going to go in my yard and Ms. Ringwald's yard. I've already had to come in and had dirt poured along the highway there because when it rains, it will flood into our yard and get very deep. So I had this little mound poured all along that area where it won't go into our yard now. And when it rained the last time, it really got deep. And if that hadn't been there, it would have flooded. So I wonder what will it be with this area now having to be built up and the water coming there. I have pictures I'm going to give you. You know, well, somebody said, well, why don't you move? Okay, the day that this triplex is there, my property value has just went down. And who wants to buy a house next door to a triplex? So all that I ask you when you make your decision, just ask yourself one question. Would you want a triplex directly across the street from where you live? Thank you. And I have some pictures that you can also see from the water.
Mr. Vaughn, Ms. Vaughn, I'm not supposed to do this, but this doesn't have anything to do with this issue. Didn't I see you two in Long John Silver's in Texarkana Saturday evening? We talked a few minutes.
See how important this is?
Yeah.
My son had another game today, and I didn't go to watch
You did?
I
Understand.
thank you. Small world.
My name is Cindy Ringwald, and I live at 225 Town East, and I concur with everything that Mr. Vaughn has said. It is a neighborhood. We know who's supposed to be there and who's not, and we have had problems with the tenants of the duplexes across from me. And at the meeting last week, or a few weeks ago, Mr. McNeil kind of called me out and said, well, you bought the house that you live in now with duplexes across from you, which is true. But my appraiser did tell me that that would lower the value of my home. But I was a single mom needing a place to live, and it was a nice house. I got a good deal on it. And I told Mr. McNeil that was true. I bought it with the one across from me, but I had never lived across from a duplex. And now I have, and I know I don't like that. Because the only trouble I've had living there has been out of the tenants in the duplexes. And like Chris said, they come and go. There's no doubt they were dealing drugs out of it at one time. And you know, you're a single person, a woman especially. You hate to call the law and have them get too involved because I go to work every day. They know when I'm gone, and I don't want to anger them and them come mess with my property while I'm gone. And it's like Chris said, you don't want to sell because you like where you are. You like the people around you. But I don't want a triplex there. I think that that is not to the best interest. And he's not a resident of Reno. We are. We've been paying taxes here. The drainage issue is a problem too, because I know he provided you pictures. I have pictures on my iPad too, that when it rains, even with what Chris has brought in and built it up, there's still a certain amount of water that the curbs aren't very big, and the water doesn't know to go around the curb. It comes across my yard and his yard, and in the front and the back. And so I was married to a builder before. I know that when you build something like that, you're going to raise the elevation. And if you're going to have 3 units, you're probably going to have 6 vehicles. And you're going to have parking for all 6 vehicles, and it's going to be concrete. And that has to cause more runoff. So it's going to come across my property and his. And it's just, we just don't feel safe with it being there. And there's several that are single women that live on that road, and I'm just against it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Hines, and I live at 300 Town East Drive. To ease everybody's minds about the drainage issue, he assured everyone at the last meeting that he would reroute it so that it goes the other direction. That's my yard. So I guess I'll be the one with all the flooding issues. Maybe I need a vote, I don't know. I I am against rezoning this for several reasons. I agree with everything that everybody has said. Also, I'm yet another single parent. I live there with my 2 daughters. I'm safe in my neighborhood, or I feel like I'm safe in my neighborhood. I have my neighbors that I know. We've lived there for years. I feel completely comfortable where I'm at. If the triplex is put in, then we're going to have the revolving door of people in and out. You don't know what kind of people they're going to be. They're there to rent. We're owning our properties. We take care of our properties. We take pride in our property. I like the fact that my daughter can be out on the street on her bicycle or playing in the yard. And we know the kids that she's playing with. We know that I may not be able to keep an eye on them right that second, but I know the neighbors are also, they're able to keep an eye on them. I'm not comfortable with the triplex going in there for several reasons. Another one is when they're doing construction on this, how long is that going to last? What kind of noise are we going to hear from it? What hours are we going to hear these noises? And as they're moving this heavy equipment up and down the street, what kind of damages they're going to be on the street? Are our kids going to have to be watching out for concrete mixers and things as my daughter rides her little scooter down the street? It's really concerning to me. I'm just comfortable. I like my neighborhood. That's why I bought there. I like my neighbors, and I am completely against rezoning that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is that all of them?
If there's no further comments, we close the public hearing at this time. At 6:22 p.m. Item number 8, a public hearing to discuss.
No.
What? Would like to take action on this item now.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Mr.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Mayor, with all the public input, we really appreciate that. And since the public's showed up to speak against this, I'd like to make a motion that we follow the planning and zoning's recommendation for denying the change, the zone change of 299 Town East Drive from R1 residential to multifamily, as requested by Mr. McNeil.
I second the motion.
We have a motion to deny the zone change at 299 Town East Drive from Councilmember McCarthy, and a second by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The zone change at 299 Town East Drive from a R1 to a MF1 is denied.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank y'all for coming. Item number 8, I'd like to open a public hearing to discuss, take action on the zone change at 300 Cornell Drive from R1 residential to R3 residential as requested by Charles McNeil. It's open for discussion.
No one signed in, Mr. Mayor.
No one signed in. We'll close the discussion. Move on to item number.
Motion.
What?
Discuss, take action.
We're going to take action on this motion.
This recommendation for acceptance of the zone change by the P&Z on this item. P&Z recommended accepting.
The Planning and Zoning Commission it recommended accepting the zone change in this area.
Mr. Mayor, I move to go ahead and approve the zoning change from the Planning and Zoning Commission at 300 Cornell Drive from R1 residential to R3 residential, as requested by Charles McNeil.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve the zone change at 300 Cornell Drive from Councilmember Brandon Thomas and seconded by Miss Amanda Willows, council member. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Gonna close the public hearing. Move on to item number 9, public hearing to discuss take action on replat, final plat of Lot 11 and Lot 12, Block B, Wellington Point, Phase 1, B1 by Barry Warren, owner.
One person signed it.
I'm gonna open a public hearing at 6:26 p.m.
Bobby Warren at 542 Michelle Lane, and Barry and I were requesting this to build a shop, so I just basically came if you had any questions, so.
I'm gonna close the public hearing at 6:26. Open for discussion.
Planning and zoning recommended the...
Planning and zoning recommended that the plat change.
Mayor, I move to approve the planning and zoning's recommendation approving the replat of Lot 11 and Lot 12, Block B at Wellington Point, Phase 1, B1 by Barry Warren.
I'll
Second.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have a motion to approve the plat change by Councilmember Thomas and seconded by Councilmember Jordan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. The plat change is agreed. Item number 10, business to discuss and take action on. A, transfer ownership and maintenance of Union Grove Cemetery.
He's not here, is he?
He didn't come tonight, apparently. His health is bad, so he said he might not be able to come. Mr. Daughtry, as you can see in your packets, has approached the city and is interested in turning it over. Has everybody read everything in there?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, what you got?
Well, like one of the main things I want to ask him is how many lots are left in the cemetery? Did anyone know, or how much are they getting per lot now?
They're getting $300 per lot now, but that would be based, I mean, that could go up. That would
Right.
be on the cities, to decide what they wanted to do at that point.
What is the average they get per lot in the county? Do you know, anyone know?
I don't know.
Are there any other cities,
That have.
It's a lot higher than that.
cemeteries, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where it says in there,
Some of
if,
them
Where's
1,500.
that?
I've always heard that this is the cheapest one in like Lamar
Very
County.
limited amount
One
out
of
who
there.
close has one, you know?
I don't know.
we could do
Who-
more research. He
anyone
would
know
come
anyone
and
close?
answer all the questions, but his health's so bad. It's done by trustees. They have 3 trustees, and they're all in failing health. And so they are looking for a right way to turn it over to somebody, because it's in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
If it becomes where they can't take care of it, we're gonna have to pick it up and take care of it anyway.
Anyway,
The
Another,
law, so it's,
Yeah, it's under health and safety code.
yeah, the health
Yeah.
and safety code that covers, that we can't let it just.
covers a lot.
another question, if we do inherit the cemetery, do we inherit their bank account?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And they don't have it.
huh?
Yeah, we inherited it all.
The, excuse me, the cemetery is a fact of life here in this community. And whether the trust that has it now maintains it or not, it's part of the community, and the city will eventually have to maintain it. And we'll want to maintain it. It's part of who we are. And so it's a question whether we take it now when there's $80,000 or $81,000 in the CD for the maintenance and the care of the cemetery, or we get it later when there's no funds available. So,
And may I say, it can go along with what I'll be discussing later. We could put it all together.
Would this be something that would be immediate?
His health, I will call him tomorrow and see, because I really thought he was going to be here, but his health is so bad
Right.
that he said in the evening he has a really hard time coming out. By middle of the afternoon, he just can't breathe anymore, but he can't show the lots anymore. They have somebody that takes care of, they pay $300 a month for somebody to maintain it, is what they pay out of there, so.
Okay.
I know with each burial, they get $15, I think, for removal of the dirt, but that's all hired, that funeral homes take care of
15 or
the
$30.
burial. Was it $30?
I think it's $30.
$30 to take care of the dirt. So that's the income, and the only big expense they've had was ice storm. But if it was a city, that would have went,
Yeah, I noticed
On
that
the grant,
$4,500
you know,
for trees.
yeah, he said that really, that's the only big expense that they had for.
Well, I mean, of course, it probably needs to be done, but there's another one here that we know about that we hadn't seen.
I've
Been
got it.
working on, oh, she
I've got it on
has
here.
all kinds of information. She's been working on it hard.
Do we need,
Because it is
do we need to
possible
discuss that
to
now?
form a committee to oversee the cemeteries in the city for the preservation and protection and upkeep, and I think it'd be
Maintenance,
fantastic.
yeah. Upkeep.
So,
I agree with Councilman Jordan, everything he said on that we should.
Would you like me
Do
to get
something
more
with it.
information, talk to some, I mean, our software that we have right now already has a module on it for cemetery. I mean, it's already on there, so all you have to do is just buy and click it and it's there. So I know it's a big deal that other cities do have, because it wouldn't just be a,
Right.
you know, it sets on there. But I can find out some more information and maybe some towns around, or, and if you guys have any questions, you want to send them to me and.
But the only other comment is, some of the best kept cemeteries I've seen are city-maintained cemeteries.
I agree.
And this is right here on the highway. It is part of the face of Reno, so to speak, part of it. And I certainly think it's something we need to care for.
I
The
agree.
cemetery is totally separate from the building there, the church that's there. It has nothing to do with the cemetery.
Now, there's no,
Land stops at that road.
Clarification.
yeah, there's no land on the other side of it. It's just that block, square block. Okay.
Because I always thought that they were together.
I do too.
And Councilman McCarthy mentioned the other cemetery behind Crazy House. There's been some work done
Yes,
over
it's
the last
on.
couple of years. Needs to be more done. And then once it's done, we need to maintain it. That's what
Absolutely.
Councilperson Willis mentioned, so, because it, again, is part of the community. And
And if we did decide to form a committee to do this, I would be more than happy.
Is your stuff on here to discuss that?
Yes.
Is-
That's,
Oh,
it's on there somewhere.
R.
Cemetery located.
Or-
behind-
R, yes.
and if we did do this tonight, is it something that, I didn't hear your answer to Brandon's question about, do we take it over immediately, or?
Well, you could probably move forward to taking it, but no, there would have to be an agreement. There would have to be paperwork drawn up. The attorney would have to be.
Right.
all
Transfer of
involved in
land,
doing the
signed.
Transfer, and yeah, so it'd just be something to move forward to do, you know, that you're interested in doing, or no, you're not interested in looking into, you know. We're just have to go from here.
Is there like a plat or a book that they have?
They have all the
It's got all-
records. They said that they don't have any unaccounted for plots.
graves.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Grave sites. They're all accounted for. They went through and back in the 60s, I think, got everything updated and kept it up since then. Theirs is in hard copy books that
Can we
they
go ahead
have.
and get that so we can be looking at all this stuff?
Well,
And
yeah,
I guess we got a copy of their books here, is that?
that was just their last 4 or 5, that's
But
their,
this is the books?
that's not the books of the, that's their financial books.
So this
Because
is
they
their
have very
statement.
in and very little out, you know, there's just not a whole lot of, but yeah, that's the
It is.
statement, because, like I said, it's 3 elderly people doing all of the work over there and trying to keep it.
I like to
Same
get
trustees.
everything they have, all the records and stuff, and have Hamilton look at all that before we commit to it. You know what I mean? Just do it.
All right. Yeah.
I don't mind doing it, but we can. I like to see all of it.
Again,
Possible.
and I got just this thought, there are cemeteries that, and these are elderly folks that are the trustees now, and they're not able to continue. Their health won't allow them to, and my concern is that if we don't do this, they will turn to someone to take care of it. And the funds for the maintenance and care of it will be turned over as well. And there have been cemeteries throughout Texas and probably other parts of the country that what if you want to call it, the perpetual care funds have been dispersed, done away with, and then the cemetery goes into disrepair. You go right down Airport Road to Meadowbrook and see the result of that through the years. And again, the city ultimately will have it. The question is, in what condition will we get it, and if there's any funds available to maintain it at that time.
And that's been their concern. They've been trying for a long time to find younger people to take it over. They wanted to find different trustees, and they haven't been able to. And, you know, the last report was to come into the city to see if they could turn it over, because he was afraid that if he did just turn it over to anybody, then the money's gone. And
Do we know how old that cemetery is?
Said 1866 was the first grave. So
yeah, the first person that was buried there was
it was a black cook for the landowner. She was a slave. And it was his
You're
favorite.
talking about
Union
Grove?
Union Grove.
Union Grove, yeah.
Union Grove, and it was his favorite cook. And
Really?
yeah, and she was buried in died in 1866 and buried supposedly at a grove of trees, half a mile north of his house, which would have been right there.
And they said there's
That
no
would-
marks. It'd be interesting to see if that one's marked.
If we could get the records on that, that would qualify under the historical markers. Yes, that would be a state historical cemetery.
Carrie, would it be possible to get everything he has?
I'll talk to him. I'll call him.
And like tomorrow, we could
Yes,
schedule
I'll call
a
him tomorrow.
call meeting or a special meeting to take care of it after Mr. Hamilton looks at it.
Yeah, I'll be look into the legalities of all of it and see what we need to do and.
And we can have would it be a special meeting or a call meeting to look at that? Wouldn't be much to do that.
If everybody wants to,
Yeah,
we
like
could try to have one earlier in the day. Have a noon meeting or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, I'd rather have a better financial statement than.
I know.
Well, what do y'all want to write down? Just let me write this down.
It needs to be signed.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, we table this item until such time we can get those records reviewed and then maybe go from there.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember McCarthy and a second by Councilmember Brandenburg to table this till we get further information. All in favor? Motion carries. We will table this until further information is acquired. Item C, zoning. What? B. B. Yeah, yeah. zoning variance requested by Anthony Roberts, seeking a variance to Chapter 14 zoning, Section 5001, setbacks for a carport or garage. No.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the variance. It's to have it 3 foot instead of the 5 foot side setback is what it would change.
Would be a 3 foot
Yeah, it would change it to 3 foot instead of a 5 foot.
on just one particular lot.
Yeah, just on his lot that he's doing. He's wanting to put in a driveway in the carport, and it's gonna impede 2 foot into that 5 foot setback.
So the carport will be 3 foot as well,
Yeah.
off the lot line,
Three.
not just the driveway.
Now, which direction is that? Is that this way? This way, or is he going towards his backyard? I can't tell. Well, if you follow the property line
Very.
The driveway,
down the driveway, then I don't see what the problem of having it rezoned.
unless he's gonna put it on the east side.
If he's just gonna move his driveway back 3 foot, why are we rezoning?
It's not,
I mean,
it's rezone, it's,
a replat or whatever.
it's a zoning variance requested. All you're doing is requesting him a variance from the zoning. The zoning ordinance says that you have to have a 5 foot setback. So this
Okay.
is just a variance for him to be
For
able to
3
go
foot.
ahead and do it and impede into that 5 foot.
Okay.
Yes, that's all it is, yeah.
Oh,
Encroach.
5 foot to 3 foot then.
But it's not just the driveway, it's the carport as well will encroach
For
into the 2
carport and
feet.
garage, yes.
I don't. No one signed in to speak against this, right?
And at the P and Z,
No one.
they seen and nobody was, he was there and talked to them and they recommended approval.
Nothing from the neighbor next door.
No.
What? Mr. Mayor, I move to go ahead and approve the Planning and Zoning's recommendation to approve the variance requested by Anthony Roberts to Chapter 14 zoning, Section 5.001 for setback for carport or garage. Do I need to do a distance?
No, that's okay. Just the
Okay, just-
variance.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Thomas to okay the variance. Anthony Roberts seeking a zoning variance for carport and garage, seconded by Miss Amanda Willows, council member. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Variance is granted. Move on to item C, variance and adoption of ordinance 2015-7-13, granting a variance to chapter 14, section of 602002 of the planning and zoning regulations, permitting a recycle and retail salvage operation as a variance to the use regulation of said ordinance, providing for exclusive application of the variant, and providing a severability clause and effective date.
Who wants to start? Mr. Ben Glick?
Mr. Ben Glick?
How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Great, how are you?
Appreciate the time. I think I emailed everyone a packet. I just brought one hard copy. Thank you. In case y'all need another visual reference. Before we get too far into my remarks, I definitely want to take some time and recognize a few people. I want to give a big thank you to all the city officials, especially Mayor Tom, David Hamilton, the city attorney, Kara Hubbard, Jeff Wright with the EDC, and I know we met at the EDC as well, but it's just been an absolute pleasure to work with the city of Reno. We've had some other experiences with other cities that haven't gone as well, and I tell you, we're excited to come to Reno because of where it is, the demographics, it works for our business. But in light of our experience the last couple months, you know, I'm excited about the leadership in this city, and I think everybody sees Reno going in a positive direction, and quite frankly, we want to ride the coattails of that. So again, thank y'all for all your hard work. So at the top of the agenda, I'd love to introduce ourselves. We are, I'm Ben Glick. I'm joined by my brother Adam Glick. This is Stuart Manning. He'll be our facility manager. That's Miss Amy Ward, Mrs. Amy Ward. But she'll be doing a lot of our HR and admin, and that's kind of the team that's been working on this project for a long time. So if I stumble over myself, I may ask for a lifeline. But we're a recycling business, Recyclers Depot, and we're an innovative metals buying facility. I can assure you haven't seen a business quite like ours just yet. It's a complete departure from your stereotypical recycling operations. I want you to abandon, you know, Sanford and Sons, any junkyard mentality you may have. This is designed to be a retail style facility. We want to be a clean, modern environment that makes recycling attractive to not only existing recyclers, but new recyclers. We imagine a place that you'd feel proud and welcome to bring your whole family. You're not going to worry about flat tires or who's going to be there, whether you're going to be dealt with honestly. These are all the cornerstones of our business: cleanliness, housekeeping, customer service. And again, a modern retail style feel. And as that packet circulates around, and again, you've seen it in the email, I think you'll be able to visualize that. Recyclers Depot will be co-branded with Pickers Self-Service Auto Parts. Pickers will have a large variety of vehicles organized in neat rows on a fully gravelled lot. The front portion of the business will be completely paved concrete. Customers will be able to pull their own auto parts, offering customers an exceptional selection of recycled OEM, auto, and light truck parts at bargain prices. Pickers and Recyclers Depot are complementary businesses. Customers will be able to sell their old auto parts and scrap metal at Recyclers Depot, then buy replacement auto parts from Pickers, all at the same convenient location. We see both of these businesses fitting in very well in Reno. We like the grit of this community, a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, and that's the type of customer we're looking for. Want to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm sure I'm not sure how familiar you all are with the history of our company, and we had tried to previously locate in the city of Paris. When we came and spoke to the EDC, it seems like a couple months ago now, there was some concern about whether Reno was second fiddle, if we were just trying to leverage negotiations. And I want to assure you that that's not the case. We are working to settle matters with the city of Paris, but we aren't interested in locating in the city of Paris. Reno's our first choice. This is where we want to be, and this is where we're committed to building our business. So we've secured a location on US Highway 82 East, just down the road from here. I would describe it as 784 Lamar. So what that new location has allowed us is to co-brand our facility with Pickers. And that's something that was previously not feasible with our location in Paris. And I'll talk about that a little bit more down the agenda. As the first step in this process, we've requested a zoning variance for our property to allow this operation. Now, while the current zoning code allows used auto sales and new part sales and warehousing and storage and a lot of things that, to me, look and smell very close to what we're trying to do, and I think the city attorney was right on this, it doesn't speak specifically enough to what we're trying to do. So what we're requesting is a variance that will be specific to our business, at our location. This is a one-time deal. And I thought Mr. Hamilton did a good job outlining this at Planning and Zoning. I want you to think by approving this variance, you're opening the door to all kinds of recycling facilities lining up and down 82, and that this is going to permanently change the zoning code or anything. What we're asking for is a one-time exception for our business at our location. In addition, we've attached a flyer concerning the Reno Recycles program. This is something I've worked with Mayor Chatan with a little bit, and I know it's later on the agenda. I just wanted to go ahead and clarify. We've had several drafts of this flyer going around, and originally we had earmarked those funds for the Parks and Rec Department. And I just want to be completely honest with y'all. We did that because we saw the Cans trailer out here. We thought, well, that'd be a good place for it to go. And we didn't hear any resistance to that. And talking through that with some other people, the concern came up. First off, who are we to tell you what to do with the money? Really what we want to do is reach out to the community of Reno and support this community. And who better to decide that than the city council? Obviously, anyone who's been watching the last half hour knows that y'all are very involved and have a good pulse of the city and where that money should go. The other big concern I had is, let's say we earmark these funds and you don't get quite enough, park spending that year. What's going to happen to them? So that was kind of an open-ended question. And so we just want to make sure that we give y'all the maximum amount of flexibility to use the funds however you want. That being said, I'm a big outdoors guy, love Parks and Rec. That'd be great. I see members of the fire and police department here. God knows we appreciate their service and what they do for our community. So we'd be happy to support them or however the council thinks it's best to spend the money. Basically, we're just excited to bring a new level of recycling services and discount auto parts to Reno and Lamar County. Recyclers Depot and Pickers are affiliates of Tri-State Iron and Metal Company. We're a 68-year-old regional recycler. We've been doing this a long time, and I just want to lend some credence that when we say we're going to do something, that's how we built our business that long. This is exactly what we're going to do. In addition, I just wanted to recognize some of the community outreach we've done and the support we've gained from the community. We had a very productive meeting with Jason Petty from the Reno Auto Auction. Great guy. He would have come tonight, but he's been blessed with another grandchild, so he had more important matters. But I think those two businesses, based on our meetings, are going to work very well together. And I could really see that district growing with kind of an auto industry feel. Ace Storage, we've reached out to them across the road. He's promised to bring us recyclables as soon as we're open and running. And then Reno Plaza and Countrywood Apartments. We've reached out to management there. Again, they've offered us some aluminum cans, but more importantly, what I've come to learn is those are low-income communities with high turnover. What we've discussed with management is doing some job recruiting. Very close to there. We'd love to have our employees that close. And she was very interested, I think Mary, with gaining employment for the residents there. So I mean, that's a natural partnership for us, and we're excited about that. With that being said, I'd like to kind of topically hit some of these frequently asked questions. Some of these, I don't know how valid some of the concerns on, but they're all things that we've heard expressed at different times, so I want to be sure to address them. Number one, are Recyclers Depot and Pickers going to be junkyards? This is something we don't want to take for granted. I know we're trying to do something new, and there hasn't been a business quite like this anywhere as far as we know. And I just really want to pound the table on this one. But we are not your stereotypical junkyard. We're bringing an entirely new approach to recycling. Recyclers Depot will feature an innovative design, friendly staff, certified scales, state-of-the-art computer system, on-site ATM machines for payment. Their customer area is all concrete, so no mud, no flat tires, and the unloading area is covered to keep customers out of the sun or rain. There will be no large cranes or no piles of material on the ground. Just to speak to our operations a little bit, I think it's important, as a business person, we have no interest in keeping large amounts of material here. We have a large processing facility with millions of dollars of infrastructure in Texarkana. So the name of the game for us is collect the material, transport it as quickly and efficiently as we can back to Texarkana. That's where we actually turn the buck in the deal. It is not about collecting material in Reno. Same thing with the cars. We want to cycle that inventory. Fresh cars sell fresh parts. We want to get the old car bodies back to Texarkana to process them, and that's where the actual profit comes in for us. So we have a huge financial incentive to not let that happen. How will Recyclers Depot and Pickers appeal to people entering the city? Hopefully that packet is circulated a little bit. These are businesses in a facility that's attractively designed and landscaped and a style similar to other retail businesses. The building will feature a modern glass storefront, fully concreted customer receiving area. In addition, our landscaping will include crepe myrtle trees in the front, modern signage well lit, and along the west side we'll be using tall trees to visually divide our businesses from the neighboring apartments. Noise has been expressed as a concern. I was just at the site again today. I just want to assure you from a personal experience perspective, nothing that we do will be louder than Highway 82. You will not hear our business. Largest piece of machinery we'll have is a great all forklift and a mobile car crusher. People get a little pause at that one. Again, based on personal experience, it's something you wouldn't expect, but a car crusher's no louder than the diesel engine powering it. It just sounds like a can getting crushed on a lot bigger scale. But it's not a loud, violent thing. We've touched on this a few times now, but again, there will not be unsightly piles of metal. We have the financial incentive, the operational plan to ensure that doesn't happen. Everything will be loaded directly into its shipping container. That's a big tenet of our business plan and operations. We want efficiency. We don't want to be handling material twice. So we want to get it back to Texarkana as quickly and efficiently as we can. As far as traffic, I know this concern came up with the EDC a little bit, and I really want to speak to it. For customers, Recyclers Depot has 9 unloading bays and ample parking and queuing area. And again, you'll be able to see that with the facility layout. We have 48 parking spots, and our current rendering And in addition, we have additional land on each side that we could expand parking if willing. That would be a great problem for us to have. Based on projected volumes, we expect a few commercial trucks per day, and these pickups may be coordinated so they're at non-peak traffic hours. Will Recyclers Depot attract pests or rodents? This is another concern we've heard voiced, so I do want to take it seriously. Recyclers Depot will not attract any more pests or rodents than any other warehouse or retail business. Basically, we deal in metal, and I don't know of a pest or rodent that eats metal. We've been doing this 68 years. It's never been a problem. I don't expect it to start being a problem now, but it is a concern that I want to address. Kind of spills into another issue that we've heard, odor. This is an issue that I think people are concerned with the used beverage cans. We do not want to buy any liquid in a can. We have a huge financial incentive not to do that. Cans are light enough as is. You know, you throw a half swallow of Coke or beer at the bottom, and we pretty much lost money on that transaction. So we go through a lot of processing steps to ensure that doesn't happen. We collect cans in kind of a chicken wire basket to make sure they aren't holding liquid. And we shoot them through a can blowing machine, and then we keep them in a sealed van trailer. So again, we've been doing this 68 years. We deal with a lot more cans at our Texarkana facility than we will here, and there's no odor associated with them. It's never been an issue for us. Security, for the safety of our employees and customers, we take security seriously. Recyclers Depot will be entirely fenced, protected by burglar alarms, and monitored by 24-hour video surveillance. I just want to speak to the fencing. You know, this is going to be attractive, full high-side metal fencing. May use some chain link in the back where it's not visible, but you know, we aren't talking about a prison out there with razor wire or anything. It's going to be like it looks in the rendering. It'll be something that you'll be pleased to have on Highway 82. How will Recyclers Depot affect the environment? You know, I think it's well established in this day and age that recycling has a positive impact on our planet. We want to leave the world a better place for our children, and recycling is a big part of that. In addition, I just want to speak to the local impact. You know, where you see some of this old metal dumped in ditches, vacant property, with a facility like ours, I think you'll start to see those problems mitigated. I think you'll see some of this metal find its way to our facility, where residents, customers will be paid for it, and those dollars will go back into the community. So there's a positive aspect there. That segues very nicely into how will Recyclers Depot affect the Reno economy. So as I mentioned, we will be doing more than just collecting material. We will be purchasing material from our customers. We anticipate $1.5 to $2 million in annual purchases from individuals and businesses. This money will go directly back into the local economy. People will spend it at Reno businesses, Reno gas stations, Reno restaurants. In addition, we'll be creating 10 to 12 new jobs. That'll be about $335,000 in annual salary, and we would prefer all local employees. Because Recyclers Depot and Pickers are destination local businesses, we will also draw additional traffic to Reno, benefiting other local businesses. Customers will pay sales tax on all part sales. In addition, both businesses will pay property taxes on the significantly improved land. I'd just like to share some more numbers on that. So right now, this is budgeted as a $1.75 million construction project. We want to use all local subcontractors as much as possible. So you're looking at a significantly improved piece of land and the associated property tax. On the part sales right now, we're hoping for $350,000. We have projections that are above that, but we want to be conservative in the beginning. With that, I would just like to touch on one last thing, just respectfully before the council. This matter is time sensitive. We have an option on this land, and we need some resolution pretty quickly to know that we can do what we plan on doing. And I thought as the invocation so well put, we want to see the betterment of Reno. We want to see Reno as a place where businesses can succeed and the residents can thrive. So I just want to, again, say that, this is time sensitive and delay could prevent this deal from going through. The option period will expire and it could only be extended with additional expense and risk. And as much as we want to be in Reno, we're going to have to make a business decision at the end of the day. So I'd love to open up this portion for any questions, concerns you may have. But again, we're very much looking forward to joining the community and contributing and being here for a long time and partnering with the city. Thank you.
Mr. Glick, the fence, how tall?
Here we go, 6 foot?
I think it was 8 on the front, but
Yeah.
the fence, we'd be happy to work with the city on both the material and the fence. My dad's a big fan of putting a wood fence out there. That's something the city wants. We'd be open to working with the city on the height and material of the fence.
So you don't see it being higher than 8 feet?
I don't know, because our fence in Texarkana is 8 feet.
I see.
I think if you consider the perspective of Highway 82 and an 8-foot clearance, you aren't going to be able to see the operations from the highway.
You had talked about mitigating the scrap metals that we have laying around. Y'all have any kind of record keeping? 'Cause what I don't want is this town or your area, your business become known as a place to take stolen items. So y'all have any kind of record keeping where our police department can go check, or any other law enforcement agency?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a big part of what I do with our company in Texarkana. And the Texas legislature actually just passed additionally stringent requirements. We deal in a highly regulated environment. We have to keep a license plate, a thumbprint, a driver's license, make, model of the car, complete transaction records, and all that is uploaded to the Texas Department of Safety. I encourage you, if you're concerned, just Google Texas scrap theft laws. And the Texas Department of Public Safety has really done a good job creating a robust record-keeping system. I think it's a national issue, especially with agriculture and the communications companies, cell phone towers. I wish they were higher for our business, but when copper prices were higher, you saw a lot of theft there. So I think those industries have done a good job partnering with local law enforcement, and the recycling industry as well. We have no interest in buying stolen material. We want to support the police however we can, and the most effective thing we've seen in combating this is the record keeping, because it facilitates prosecutions. Rather than just deter that, you get the people who are actually doing it, you punish them, you get them off the street. And I think it's been very effective.
And y'all will have video case. That's a tool. And
absolutely. So we'll have, in addition to our facility surveillance, every transaction will be a photographic record. So if you say, somebody stole, this coil of wire, about how much wire was it? Well, we can go through our records and you can point out, that was my wire.
When you said time was of the essence on this, what kind of time are we looking at? I know you want to go as quick as possible, but
I'll just be completely honest with you. July 27th is a hard deadline for us. That's when our option period expires, and we have to know what we're going to do about that.
the reason why I say that is because I don't want to end up like Paris did. And I know that you don't either, to go through all the trouble and that happens. What I would like to see is a public hearing and get a consensus of all the citizens from around the area and see what they would like. That, to me, would be the best thing to do before we just approve a variance. And then we end up, I guarantee you, right in the same spot that Paris was in. That people, we wouldn't have enough seats in here if we just did it and didn't tell anyone.
Well,
That's my opinion, and I see your point, but I would just like to see a public hearing on it. I don't know how quick that we could have one, but I think we need a sign put up stating that the variance in the zone change is going to happen, and a date for a public hearing on it.
There isn't a zone change, is there?
no.
But there
It's
would be a
already
variance.
zoned.
There would be a variance
If I
for
could
that,
just
for that spot of land.
Distinguish kind of the history of what happened in Paris and what we're doing here. We learned from what happened in Paris, and I just want to, in our own defense, we did everything that the city asked, just like we're trying to do here. We did everything by the book. We were assured by the city manager, and we have a zoning verification letter that this was something we could do there, and it went as far as our project being permitted.
Right.
That being said, they handled everything in-house. We never went before the city council until our building permit got pulled. And I think Reno's the type of place, that quite honestly, a lot of us grew up in small towns, and people talk, and you get that type of input that we've seen today. Just like with some of these neighborhood rezonings and projects. We went before planning and zoning just a couple weeks ago. We were unanimously approved. We didn't have any opposition there. We've published multiple letters. We had a letter to the editor and a story in the Paris News. And then I personally reached out to the neighboring apartments and businesses, because we aren't trying to sneak up on anybody.
Right.
So we want to be welcome. We want to be known. We don't want any surprises. But I just want to kind of assuage your fears a little bit. This is absolutely different from what happened in Paris, and procedurally how everything happened.
In what sense?
Just in the sense that we're going before the city council ahead of time now.
Okay.
We're going through planning and zoning now. We have, multiple news stories that have reported that we're interested in Reno. And then just the personal outreach to the local, the neighboring apartments and businesses. Those were all things that we've done proactively based on the events in Paris, where we wanted to be better community members and better outreach. And again, I would just, listen to about here, we haven't heard any opposition to this in Reno. If anything, it's been just the opposite. Support. People want to see new businesses come to Reno, and especially our neighbors are excited about the direct impact that we could have.
See, I have heard from, some concerned citizens, and it's everything that you've explained. It's going to be junkyard, Sanford and Son, and I tell them basically what you've said, but coming from a third party, it doesn't work well, and that is why I think if you were able to talk to people, maybe calm fears, maybe put out the fire before it ever starts.
And I agree. Once you get out that, this is coming, I believe it's going to be a packed house in here. So a public hearing, in my opinion, as well, would be a good way to go. So, you may have some that, like to see the progression of this city with your business. The renderings are great. But then again, we may have a backlash as well, like our sister city up the street.
Well, and I think context is important. I imagine y'all are all familiar with the Morningside neighborhood and the demographics there. We are on the very edge of Reno city limits, and our property line is the county line. So again, we've tried to be thoughtful in our selection of the location. We aren't trying to bustle up into any residential parts, and where we did have concerns with the apartment complexes nearby, and speaking with management, I think we feel good about that.
And this is for Karen, I guess, and for Mr. Hamilton, what's involved in the city posting the necessary signage or the notices for a public hearing and the expense there, and how. Your date is the 27th,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Glick? So,
Are we gonna do it the same as we would as a zone, like a zone
Is that
change
a
or variance?
statement or a
Because it-
question?
A question. Because there isn't
There's
any
not a
guidelines.
procedure to
with
have a
this.
public
No.
hearing on variance. There's a procedure to have a public hearing on a request for a zoning change. And the distinction is small, but it is. If you change the zoning of the land, it's there, period. And so the people around it who might have objection to that, the ordinances say you have to have a public hearing on that. The other side of the coin is there is no issue that says you can't have a public hearing. But procedure-wise, it's the 13th. If it's posted as an agenda item, 72 hours notice. Now, I don't know who you'd want to call and how you want to publish that public hearing. The zoning ordinance is pretty specific, the neighborhood around that. That's who you
200.
call.
so many feet.
You have to have 200 feet of
So
property
if
in
you're going to
15
do that, you need
days.
that parameter, and that's going to be something staff's going to have to do tomorrow in order to give people that kind of time.
If it's the same, it's 15 days to be put in the paper, so it would be too late if we
Well,
followed that
but see,
one.
we're
But
not-
if
you
we're
don't-
not following, yeah, I see.
You're not bound by that.
Yeah.
All you're doing is saying, we got to give people enough time to get here. If somebody says, I didn't get 15 days notice, they're reading the wrong ordinance. This, what I see is this is an effort by the city council to say, look, we'd like for the public to have some input on this. We may or may not be satisfied with this, but we just want that. So we don't start to build it and then have a room full of people here that says, we really don't like that. And so it's, I'll use the word, it's a political thing as opposed to a legislative thing, but politics is part of what makes the world go around. That's why everybody's here. So if you need to alleviate that issue, you need to do it with a process that gives everybody enough notice where they can come in here and talk about this thing in a public hearing, and then close the public hearing and vote just like you would if it was a zoning change. But we don't have to follow that process because the ordinance doesn't say it. So we can accelerate things. You got to decide who do you want to tell and how do you want to do it.
Do we still have the Blackboard Connect or whatever deal? Notify that website and stuff, newspapers and everything. So there's 3 different avenues. Give people notice, it's just kind of a meeting.
I understand it's my word, but, you know, my integrity and my word's my bond, and if you're gonna reach out to the neighbors, you know, I can assure you, you aren't gonna find opposition there.
And, you know, and maybe we're not. I mean, we're not saying that we're looking for opposition. So, I mean,
That's
so
important.
don't get mixed up on that, so. It's just that I would like to, like the attorney said, I'd like a little bit more citizens' input on it. Just to chat, just see what they'd like to do. You can talk to them, tell them everything that you've told us, get their input.
Absolutely, and that's something we're absolutely willing to do. I'm just wondering if this is something where we could go ahead and do the variance, maybe do this prior to permitting, just to keep the processing moving forward.
It's called a town hall meeting. Instead of a public hearing, town hall meeting, the very first.
Well, yeah, okay, if we kept doing it and moving it forward, okay, on the 27th, that's when, is that basically what you said? You're going to say yes or no to the land?
Yes, sir.
So if we approve the variance now, then that means you'd have to go ahead and say yes to the land.
Well, I'm still hoping that we can have this town hall before the.
Right.
I know, you know, kind of my little experience with procedure, it's not the easiest thing to get everybody back in this room.
I don't see why.
And again, we want to be good members in the community. I would love to do a town hall and that type of outreach. And if y'all would be willing, you know, we could do it here. just the other day, Jason Petty offered to do it at his site. Car auction's very close. But we're planning on doing that type of stuff. We'd love to have a press release. You know, we just, given our experience, we're a little gun shy. Don't want to get the cart in front of the horse.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt. Hold on 1 second.
Why could we not have it like a week from,
Hold on 1 second.
sorry.
What is the possible time frame?
Whatever you decide to be. I mean, you just gotta give, you gotta give us 72 hours to post the agenda. So you've got at least 3 days. So we're going here.
That's fine.
We need to get one of those that works faster.
It only goes 80 minutes and then it goes on.
I'll quit
It's like
talking until
80
it gets
minutes
done.
and then we have to.
So we leave on the 23rd. So it's this, okay. So we could have it this day. How about that? What,
Next Thursday?
no, next Wednesday. 'Cause this would be San Antonio. This-
Okay?
Yeah.
But all we gotta do is give 72 hours notice on the agenda. So whatever we do, 3 days ahead of that, if you want to start backwards, if you set it on the 20th, then by the 17th, you've got to have that agenda posted or you can't meet. If the city council is going to be involved, I assume it would be.
By which day?
Well, it's 3 days before you,
Okay.
3 days ahead of whenever you say the meeting is. And that doesn't mean, you have to have all your notices done by then. You can still be notifying people after you post the agenda and say, we're gonna have a hearing about this, do it here if you wanna show up. And,
Well, could we not, let's just say on the 22nd, on Wednesday, 6 o'clock? That would be
Probably put the agenda up the Friday.
basically 8 business days from, or going to be another 7 business days from today.
What about Tuesday?
Or Tuesday,
The
or
Tuesday
Monday.
would probably be
I
better.
mean,
Yeah,
Maybe
I wouldn't say
booked on Monday
Wednesday.
here with P&Z or Street Commission.
that's right.
Do we have any meetings Monday?
Yeah, what do we have
On the
anything
calendar?
Next Monday,
Which Monday?
like P and Z or?
Next Monday.
The 20th? Is that what that is?
20th?
Yes. No, that would be the normal,
That gives us time, wouldn't it?
normal
Next Monday?
crime control, but
I would suggest if you do that, you need, let's get the agenda out by 5 o'clock, 16th, if you're gonna do it on the 20th. That gives you 7 days, five business days to get people notice. Have it show up.
As soon as possible.
Does that date fit with your schedule? I mean, can you be here on the 20th?
Yes, sir. I'll be here when I need to be here.
Yes, sir.
Sooner the better.
We want to help the city and do whatever we need to politically, legislatively to get this thing through. And I appreciate y'all trying to fast track stuff. And again, we're looking for a partnership, and we want to be good partners. So whatever's best moving forward.
Okay. So are we good on doing that, or?
yes.
We need
Can
a
we do a
motion?
motion? Motion to table it till the
Yeah.
20th of July at 6 PM.
Okay.
And the mayor would have to call that. I guess if all vote on it, we could say 3 people at least called it. It wouldn't be necessary for the mayor to do it since it's a special setting. So we'll just assume that if this passes, it's called. How about that? That will get that process out of the way.
Sounds wonderful.
All right, I'm sorry.
Would somebody make that motion?
Dave, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
You go ahead.
Both of you go.
Yes, I did. Make it
I move to go ahead and table this until the 20th of July 2015.
I'll second.
Yeah, at 6 p.m.
Anybody,
We have a motion by Councilmember Thomas to table the motion for the variance until the 20th, 2015, July, and a second by Councilmember McCarthy.
Can we add something to the motion?
We're going to add to the motion.
We want to add, and also do paperwork. Just
Oh, and that, we need to go ahead and, to add to the motion, do the paperwork and have it by the 15th. Would that be right?
We're talking about the notices.
Right.
Staff do the notices by then.
To have the
Post
notices.
agenda the 16th.
By the 16th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that, we go ahead and have all notices and information sent out by the 16th for the meeting on the 20th.
We have a motion that all notices be sent out by the 15th of July, 2015.
16.
Excuse me, the 16th of July, 2015.
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember McCarthy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to table the variance until the 20th is passed, and we will see you on the 20th.
Any concerns or questions the council may have that we could address while we're here?
You answered the ones I had.
Thank you. And I just want to say, that we really appreciate y'all accommodating our timeline and calling this special meeting. And we know it's not easy for y'all to get back here either. So.
Likewise with y'all, know. Y'all don't like just running back and forth all the time.
So we're planning on doing it a lot. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Clegg.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Still want to go over there?
Dee, do you want to go over any more with that item, or did you cover that?
Not unless y'all have any questions. That was just the change. We want to help the city recycle. We want to help raise funds, and it's up to y'all. We hope it goes to a good place.
Thank you.
We'll have no action on item D at this time. We'll move on to E, resolution for the Criminal Justice Division grant for new laptops in the amount of $12,385.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, this resolution, just wanted to let y'all know, was already passed back in February 2015. Grant's been awarded. We've already spent the money. Because the resolution was done in February, it was done with the name of the previous mayor. CJD, because of our election and the change, they asked that the mayor's name has to be changed on that resolution. Once y'all do that, I have to resubmit that to Austin to get that all in the up and up. That way we can get our grant funds reimbursed to us. It's a procedure thing. That's all it is.
Mayor, I make the motion that we adopt resolution PD 046.1 for the Criminal Justice Division grant for the new laptops in the amount of $12,385.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jordan to accept the resolution of PD 04.6-1 for the Criminal Justice Division grant for new laptops in the amount of $12,385. Seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number F, revision to Code of Ordinance, Chapter 10, Subdivision Regulations, Section 25-8, streetlights.
This was the old ordinance. Is this right?
Yes.
This is what it is now?
Yep.
And this is what it's going to be?
That's what was proposed.
Okay.
That's what the mayor proposed, the attorney proposed,
Right.
streetlight ordinance.
Oh, thank you. I don't have to take on as long.
Yeah, because section 25-8 in there is what is the wording now.
So if I'm reading this right, basically what we're going to be saying is from now on, any developer is going to be responsible for installing the streetlights, where before the city of Reno is responsible.
It wasn't in there before, so if somebody put them up, it was the city.
Okay. I thought we had an ordinance that we had to provide streetlights. Is there?
It's that copy that you have right there, that 25-8.
Right.
That's our ordinance.
That's the revision.
But it doesn't
No,
say.
that's the codified. This is our actual code of ordinances.
25-8 doesn't say anything about the city having to be responsible for buying any kind of street lights. If I'm reading this right.
I guess the interpretation of the actual installation and operation of the streetlight fixtures and apparatuses within the city will be under its working agreement with the electric utility company in general.
Right.
Isn't that where you interpreted that the city, because the police chief was the one that was in?
But it doesn't say the city is responsible for having the street light on every corner.
No, but what it says adequate electrical power service is defined as secondary power service line from the transformer to the point within the street right-of-way designated as an approved streetlight location. Actual installation and operation of streetlight fixtures and appurtenances, I think that's right, within the city will be under its working agreements with the electrical utility company. Okay, so what that says is installation of the lights, the poles, the lamps falls under the agreements that we have with LEC or Encore, whichever one it pertains to. Encore doesn't charge us for streetlights. LEC does. That's where the problem is.
So from now on,
What the new ordinance does, from looking at the little bit I did, is clear this up. Because the way this reads, you can take it any of a million different ways. And what the new ordinance does is clear that up and outline it the way the majority feels it should be. And Mr. Hamilton, didn't you do some research on that before and find out what other cities and other places do?
This is how other cities make sure that there are streetlights, by making the responsibility of the developer and the property owner, not necessarily to install them. If Encore will put them up, they just got to make sure they got the place out there to do it before their plan's going to get approved, and we're finally going to check it off. So we don't have to worry about that.
okay.
It's not like sending them a bill for it. They've got that responsibility as part of plating and building to make sure that there is a street light there. If they can call Encore up and say, hey, we need street lights out here, and they'll do it for free for them, more power to them. It's just got to be done before we check the box and go, okay, you're good.
Okay.
You're not putting it solely on someone, an individual.
Right.
They got to pay for that.
Like if someone's going to build a house down here on the corner, they have to pay for the street light. Sure. Okay.
Basically, the developer has to see to it that it's done, and not the city.
That's right. That's the whole, that's the meaning of that, and that's what I tried to write down. It's the developer's responsibility to see that that's done.
Okay.
And it should be incorporated into the plats and the building permits. And if it's at an intersection, and where's the light, the street light here? You got to get one there someplace.
I think hopefully the goal is that we don't run into the situation we have now where we got, several houses on a street and people fighting about whose responsibility it is to put a street light. That's all. Hopefully the new ordinance will kind of spell that a little bit.
I think it should be aimed at the power provider. If you're gonna provide power down our street, and use that right away, you're gonna have to put a light up.
And that's what bugs me to death, because if I want one,
Between the co-op in a bigger company like Encore.
They're reaping the rewards.
Yeah, if I want to light in my backyard, they'll come and put it up. Don't charge me a thing except for the $8 or $10 a month, $12 a month for usage of the light.
Well, they're using government land to make a profit.
I think that's why like Encore does it for free.
Yeah.
Basically, they're not doing it for free.
Well,
They're using you as a customer.
I think anybody in the city that does business should have to do it.
Right.
Everybody gonna have to play on the same field.
Do we have to have do we have to change the number if we revise that ordinance section?
Yes. It would be codified under the same, but it should be adopted under a different ordinance for the codification. But what legally do you think that we can do?
29-8.
Yeah, but shouldn't it be like 25, say that?
If you're gonna replace this one, I don't know why you want to number it out of order. You could, can.
I don't know how that, I mean, I don't know.
There'll be a footnote down in there, the codification. We pay them big lawyers that do the codification to put that in there the right way.
Because I mean, it kind of help you keep up with it change.
Well, before they were codified, we used to do it that way, exactly.
And some of them we do because not all of our ordinances are codified, so it's still iffy on which ones are.
No, I know it didn't say that. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the revision to Code of Ordinance, Chapter 10, Subdivision Regulation, Section 25-8.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember McCarthy to approve the revision of Section 25-8 streetlights, seconded by Councilmember Jordan. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number G, Lamar National Bank Depository Contract Extension for a one-year term beginning October 1st, 2015 and ending September 30th, 2016.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the Lamar National Bank Depository for the contract extension for 1 year beginning October 1st, 15 and end next September 16 at 30.
I'll second.
I have a motion to extend the contract by Councilmember McCarthy and seconded by Councilmember Willows. All in favor? Motion carries. Crime Control Board purchase of a new hardware and software for police department estimated at $8,706.55.
Very again. In the packet, you'll see the estimate from TSM Consulting, our IT network provider, for the network hardware and software equipment for the police department. Again, this is an issue that I have to comply with criminal justice information systems policies, become up to speed with that. This is the way we have to do it. New server, software, cabinet to put it at, professional setup from cleared, vetted people with the expertise in setting that up properly, making sure the encryption's correct, whatnot. It's for $8,700. There's money in the crime control fund to fund that. Just need final approval from y'all.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the Crime Control Board purchase of new hardware and software for police department estimated at $8,706.55.
My second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Jordan to approve the Crime Control Board purchase, new hardware for $8,706.55. Seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number J is bids to repair town east. Oh, I'm sorry, I. Retirement plan for from the Texas Emergency Services Retirement System for the Reno Volunteer Fire Department.
Should be a face sheet in all y'all's packets. I put it in there. It's the same one members from the May 11th meeting saw. It was asked to be brought back to this meeting in May due to the turnover in the council. So it's back on the agenda as an action item for this. Last year we brought it forward during budget workshops. It was approved as part of our budget. It was supposed to be in the amount of $6,480, and that's for 15 members. What this does, it provides a retirement after 15 years of service, of active years of service to our firefighters. So, any questions you have, I'm more than welcome to answer them.
I don't have a copy of it. No, I don't think that.
Last time we had Michelle George, she's the executive director of the system, it's Texas Emergency Services Retirement System. It's a state system. There's over 220 departments that are part of it. So it's a pretty hardy system. Currently what the plan is to, if you enter it, to enter it at the lowest amount, which is $36 a month per person.
Chief, do we have any idea yet, or since Michelle was here, on how this is going to be administrated, who's going to be responsible for the records?
That would have to be the city.
The city.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fire department will forward all that information to the city on a monthly basis?
We'll have a board of directors made up of 3 firefighters, 1 council member, and 2 community trustees. And we'll have to have at least 4 meetings a year. They'll have to be displayed as per the Meetings Act and all that good stuff. And so it'll go through the city, so the records will be kept here. Any type of payouts or anything like that has to go through the board. So yeah, the city would have direct access to it.
We're going to use the $6,480 you already had in the retirement. We have put back, right?
Yes, sir. That is in the budget for the current fiscal year we're in now.
Have you got your committee members?
We do, as far as the fire department, with myself, my father, Bobby Graves, and Charles Edwards, which are all 3 in attendance tonight. That was voted on by the membership at a meeting earlier in the spring. I don't remember which meeting it was. But that way we have kind of all of our ducks in a row that we're going to bring to the council.
Good deal.
The benefits this provides us is $60,000 lump sum in case of death on duty, as far as line of duty death, which helps the grieved deal with bills outstanding, things like that.
Did it have something about continuing ed, or?
It does. It has a tuition waiver in there, so any of our members can go to state-funded schools for certain programs and don't have to pay tuition. All they have to do is pay fees.
Would that be like, that only continuing ed, or would that be?
No,
like
that's for
fire
a
academy?
degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, paramedic school, EMT school, firefighter training, things like that.
Just approve the retirement plan? Just approve the retirement plan? I make a motion that we approve the retirement plan for the Texas Emergency Service Retirement System for the Reno Volunteer Fire Department.
Go ahead. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Willows to accept the retirement plan from the Texas Emergency Services Retirement System, and a second by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll get with Kara in the next week as far as paperwork, things like that.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, would you let the minutes reflect that I abstained from that vote since I've got a family member on the fire department?
Councilmember McCarthy has abstained from that vote because he has a family member on the fire department. Item J, bids to repair town east Vicksburg, Sleepy Hollow, and Old Clarksville Road as recommended by the Street Commission.
My street commission's recommendation was for Drake Construction. The total for all of those repairs are $45,610.
Which line item is that coming out of?
Out of the street repair,
Is it the capital improvement?
yes.
Okay.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the street commission's recommendation to accept the bids from, to repair Town East, Vicksburg, Sleepy Hollow, and Old Clarksville Road, as recommended by the street commission from Drake Construction.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion to accept Drake Construction's bid of $45,610 and seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item K, Smallwood Road repairs as requested by Mr. Richard Stoddard.
Thank you. My name is Richard Stouter. I have with me my wife Connie tonight. My reason for being here, I appeared before the Street Commission last Monday night, and after presenting my problems, they suggested that I appear before you tonight. I was born and raised in Lamar County in the city of Paris and have lived in the Lamar County all my life, except for military service and school and my job requirements. My concern is a half-mile section of Smallwood Road between Wildwood Lane and Meadow Lane. The Smallwood Road is approximately 1 mile in length, starting at 36th Street Northeast in Paris and going to Meadow Lane. And half of that section, the western half of it to 36th Street, is maintained by the city of Paris. The eastern half from Wildwood Lane to Meadow Lane, I'm not sure where the responsibility lies for the maintenance of that half-mile section. We bought property in we bought property in this addition in the late 80s, and in April of 1991 we built a home there and have lived there ever since, and this December will be approximately 24 years. Rolling Acres addition, at the time we bought our property, was a growing addition. Homes were being built pretty regular, and today the addition is completely filled with homes. I don't think there's any vacant property out there. The last 5 years, this half-mile section from Wildwood Lane to Meadow Lane has deteriorated pretty badly. It's in poor condition, full of potholes, broken surface, and as I said, in the last 5 years, it has deteriorated completely. The only maintenance it has right now is the city of Reno will send a truck with premix, and this is placed in the potholes and left to be compacted by local traffic. And this road is to a condition to where it needs to be rebuilt, this half-mile section. Shortly after we moved there and bought property there, we asked the county commissioner at that time if he would rebuild the road. And at that time, oil prices were going up rapidly. And he told us that they didn't have the money and couldn't afford to rebuild it, but they said if some of you out here will contribute $200, we will rebuild the road. And many of us did. We contributed $200 and they rebuilt the road and did a very good job of it. And that was sometime in the early 2000s, I believe.
I think it was in the 1990s.
Okay, 1990. But anyway, this Smallwood Road in its entire length from 36th Street is a school bus route for North Lamar. It's a United States Postal Service. And from Wildwood Lane up into Rolling Acres Addition serves approximately 40 homes. And this is a cul-de-sac area. There's only one way in and one way out. And several years ago, about 5 years ago, Meadow Lane was rebuilt by the city of Reno, and it is in excellent condition except for a few places, and is in good condition. But this half-mile section, and this is probably my main purpose in being here, I'm unsure of who is responsible for that half-mile section. That portion west from Wildwood Lane to 36th Street, I'm pretty sure belongs to the city of Paris, and they do an excellent job of keeping the street up, and they have it in a good state of repair right now. But the half-mile east from Wildwood Lane, I'm not sure, but I believe it to be the responsibility of the city of Reno and Lamar County. And I would like to ask the city of Reno if they would delegate somebody to meet with the commissioner or the Lamar County and decide or determine who has the responsibility for which portion of that half-mile section of road. Hot weather is the only time to rebuild roads. June has passed, July is halfway gone, and August will be here. And I don't know where the funding will come from for this work, but it's time to start planning. And the only way you can plan is, I believe, for City of Reno and Lamar County to come together and determine what sections they're responsible for and what amount of funds they can provide to rebuild this half-mile section of road. This is my main purpose in being here tonight, and I think I've covered my purpose pretty good. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here before you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stoddard.
After the street commission, the public works supervisor did contact the county commissioner, which you'd see in your packets, and they were willing to use the equipment if the city would buy the material. So they would work together to fix that.
Whose street is it?
Yeah,
Is it our responsibility?
Who owns the road?
Shared?
It's both. It's
Shared
just,
gray
it is
area?
so, yes, it is so gray that you can't. It's on both sides, and then we're on both, and then they're back over here, and
Yeah.
they have two properties that are in the county, and we're surrounded.
Yeah.
You know, if you take like
it's
Mount Olive
just-
Road, everybody on one side is Reno, everybody on the other side, basically the county. But Reno owns the road and maintains the road.
Yeah,
It's just,
because the
Small,
property,
so
when you
complicated.
look at the property of Reno's city limits, it goes on that side of the road.
Oh, I know.
This one goes choop, 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 choop across the road. It doesn't go, it doesn't stay just nice and clean on one side of the road.
Well, we have an issue with Hanning Drive as well. Hanning Drive is in the county, but we have Reno residents that live up that road. They have to access it, so we maintain Hanning Drive.
That's where I read it.
But this one working together, I mean, this was what they come up with
right.
as an alternative, you know, they would use their equipment and put it down, and we would buy the,
What kind of funds are left in that budget? That's
other
fine.
kind, in the street funds,
Street
there would be,
fund.
yeah, there's funds in there for it.
Yeah, they're, It would
When,
be,
And it is up on the priority list.
it is.
Yes, it is
Did you
one
ever
up
say
there on the
about
priority.
how long it will take you to
be
get
that
to it?
left in it after tonight.
I don't know. I mean, we
After we
talked it, I think they could
did
probably
the
get to it pretty quick in this budget year.
Pittsburgh and all
I
that.
want to get to it,
Right,
yeah.
Richard Gray.
Yeah, they'd have to.
And that's 3,000 to 4,000, is that what this?
There's that.
That's what he's saying,
For the
$3,000 to
street
$4,000 for the asphalt to put over it.
left
Yeah, what,
for this time of the year in the budget process.
I believe that
And that's probably what he'll come back to the street commission with at the next street commission meeting is the numbers, saying this is what he wants to do, get approval from them for recommendation, then it'd come back to the council to do.
To do this?
Because can we, attorney,
I'm listening.
the way that that's worded, the agenda item, can they go ahead and do the,
These guys take action. Yeah,
on
you sure
small wood
can.
repairs, so they
Yeah.
can? Okay. There you go.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve repairs to Smallwood Road as requested by Mr. Stoddard, and as concerning the information, the insert that Jerry Rivas, our Public Works Supervisor, has put in our packet concerning the agreement that he has made with County Commissioner Keith Mitchell.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Jordan to approve the Smallwood Road repairs as requested by Mr. Stoddard, and seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Mr. Stoddard.
Thanks for pointing it out to us.
Take care, y'all.
Item L, approval for mayor, council members, and our staff to attend the TML 103rd Annual Conference in San Antonio, September 22nd through the 25th, 2015.
This goes on sale tomorrow. It's open to be able to get housing and get registered. That is a nightmare. So at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, all staff will be on phones trying to get people registered for this. So please let me know tonight if if anybody's planning on going.
I want to go.
No, that's the big TML, that's the one, the big show in September.
The
End of
September.
22nd, 25th.
Mr. McCarthy,
It's a Tuesday through.
did you have a calendar down there? Wasn't there a calendar?
Yeah, right here.
Pretty sure it's Tuesday through Friday.
You can get them on your
September
phone.
22nd,
Calendars.
I don't bring my
Neat new
phone to a
invention.
meeting.
Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday through Friday.
It's usually everything starts on Wednesday. I think you go down on Tuesday. We still need a motion, but I need a head count before.
I'm in.
Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3. You can't. 4, 5. No?
I've been.
Been there, done that.
Oh, come on.
You're going back. Somebody gotta get us out of jail.
I can do that too.
Okay, motion.
I move to approve for the mayor, council members, and/or staff to attend the TML 103rd Annual Conference in San Antonio, September 22nd to the 25th, 2015.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Thomas to approve for the mayor and council members and staff to attend the TML 103rd Annual Conference in San Antonio, seconded by Councilmember Jordan. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item M, bids for gravel for the walking track at City Park.
I really wish Jerry was here.
I know. A lot of these items.
Where'd he go today?
He's on vacation
Ah.
all week.
Do we have these funds anywhere to do that?
In the park. Now, we use the funds for the park, but I don't know if we have the whole 6,000, and I don't know if this is what council was looking at.
See, this is what, a lot of the places, approximately, it says 6 inches, needs to raise approximately 6 inches. There's a lot of the trail, or the walking track,
That's under.
that is okay. That
that's
won't
what-
that won't need but maybe 1 inch of gravel. Then there's some places that are going to need a good 6 inches. And so
Yeah,
that's
pushed
why
back.
I think that what they did is just take the length of the walking track, the width of it, 6 inches, figured it up, it's going to be 300 tons. I don't believe that they're going to actually need to use quite 300 tons. So I would think, why couldn't we start with half of it, 150 tons? And,
We have
and-
some of this stuff out there in the yard. Or some kind of,
We have rock, but probably not what he's bidding, because not large rock.
but
Well, what
if
are the,
this-
what's, he didn't even say what kind of rock he's
he
bidding.
said it's a fine,
it's a,
called
it's a,
fine
it's a
quartz.
fine rock, yeah.
I figure it's like fine.
I don't know.
It's like a caliche.
Core screenings.
It's like a caliche rock. It's,
I mean, $20 a ton doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah, it seems like there should be a huge.
Well, you
section.
times 300, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we bought 300, and I'm no gravel expert here by any means, but yeah, I think if we did 300 tons,
That's a lot of gravel.
we would be walking, way up in the air. So that's why I'm saying, why couldn't we just start
What's the section?
and approve, let's say, 150 tons, half of it,
Hey, what's
and see how
6
far it
inches?
goes? Right, and see how far it does go.
And there'd be funds in there for that in the parks to, and still not wipe it out. And
Right.
The rest of it, you could look at the next budget year if you wanted to, if it didn't fix it.
Right. I mean, 150 tons would at least get,
3 inches.
well, yeah, it would get,
And to see if it's gonna work, yeah.
Right.
Want to go with it.
3 inches is a lot of gravel there.
yeah, it is.
Especially on top of a base that's already there.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the front part does not need to be raised.
That south end.
The whole south side
side
is underwater right now, I promise you. So,
We could use the Parks and Recreation funds.
yeah, there
How much is in there?
should be about close to 6,000 in there.
Is the city gonna, it says it's just for the materials only.
Yeah, it's
The
to do
city's
in
gonna lay it
house.
down?
Yeah.
And then we're all gonna go over there and walk and pack it.
I was talking, at that time I was talking to Jerry, he said if they brought out a live bottom when it was dry, you could just drive along the trail where it is and
Yeah.
just, all right, we need so much here, and they'll just start dumping.
Yeah.
And put it wherever, then just box plate it out, so.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we purchase 150 tons of service material for the walking track. At $20 per ton by the sheet from, I guess, Drake Construction.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember McCarthy to purchase 150 tons, half of the projected amount, and seconded by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor? Motion carries. Item N, bids on streetlights for City Park and for Wellington Point.
anything on that.
Do we have anything on that? I know we got it last time at the last council meeting. Chief, you don't happen to have anything on that, do you?
No, I don't. I thought it was probably for the time, it's not. Bid for the streetlights at Wellington Point was $5,700.
Right.
I want to say $5,711. Was over $5,700. Bid for the lights at the park.
Was 30.
32. Go find it.
Yeah, because we're going to have an exact number.
There are lights at the park now.
There's poles over there.
There are no lights.
The lights that parks from dusk to dawn, so you'd want to have lights for security purposes, but not for nighttime activities. So
That's
you
right.
have to have it, lit so when they drive by, they can kind of see back in there, but not so bright that people want to hang out there
There's
all night.
gonna be, they're gonna be playing basketball at 3 a.m.
Yeah, because the parks, it's only open from dusk to dawn. It's not. Dawn to dusk.
Is the Kiwanis, are they responsible for that part?
They turned it over to the city years ago.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Because they
So
closed Bay Wolf to 11 Kiwanis for a lot of years here, and then they came back and got restarted again.
How big is that park?
Pretty good sized. It's got a lot of land back there.
Does it come all the way through to 82?
No, it goes up to the church, Inland Church there.
Oh, okay.
But then the city in the last 5 years bought 2 more lots over there.
It's been about 5 years ago, where that house is.
Yeah, bought the whole big strip back and then came in and bought another lot where a house was. So it's expanded. It's a lot of empty. Communities.
Sorry about that. The quoted amount for the lights at the park, there was 2 quotes, one for the 32-watt LED fixtures. That was for $4,730.81.
47 what?
$4,730.81.
Now, is that for those 19, or is that for,
That was for 19. That's
but we only needed 13, is that
right.
correct?
There's 13 poles out there. Some of the poles have 2 lamp heads on it.
Right.
The lights that they're recommending, either LED or traditional halogen, would be enough to cover both lamps, would be big enough.
Right.
So you really only need 13, so that $4,700 figure would be a little less.
So basically, they're charging $249 per light.
Approximately, right.
So it should be $3,236.
The other bid amount for the traditional metal halide, wasn't halogen, it was metal halide, 19 to 150 watt metal halide dust to light fixtures. Again, 19 of those, $3289.17. The big catch to the LED versus the metal halide, LED has a much lesser cost to maintain, cost to operate. They estimated, and this is from Hargis Electric, they estimated electrical savings annually of $1,146 if we use the LED over the metal halide. So you spend a little bit more up front, but opportunity to save some operating them as the
Right.
years go.
The bulbs will last 50 times longer.
Yeah. I'm not replacing that.
But will they flood? I mean, will they flood?
Yes. It'd be like a street style light. They put out a big wide circle.
And what was the Wellington Point?
The bid at Wellington Point North, on the south end, where Tate's Trail and the name of those streets escape me right now.
That's the north side.
Yeah.
South.
Tate's Trail's on the north side.
Excuse me, north. North. I've been
They
here.
got lots
The
of
south end of the north side.
North side of the south side, facing west.
Oh, the east.
You were looking the wrong way.
South, southeast.
Sorry. It's on the north side. $5,711. And that's for 3 street lights.
3.
And it's the metal street lights that matches the rest of the lights in Wellington Point. Same style of light, same everything.
Who's that? Lamar Electric? And TXU put them for free?
Yeah, you got TXU back there.
Yeah, Lamar Electric is the utility provider, right there.
For the whole north side? It's Lamar Electric?
Yeah.
Well, I contacted Kara about this, about getting these lights for the park and for Wellington Point. Wellington Point needs them. It's basically our duty to put them there. And they should have, to me, already been done. The park desperately needs lights, as in the picture you showed last time. But
The black square.
Dark spot.
yeah, the dark spot. Now, it comes down to, funding. The EDC has $8,000 in its budget that is not going to be used this year. So,
6,000.
8,000,
Who does?
EDC. So, we could take the 8,000,
6,000.
it's,
They have 30,000 and $2,000 a month would be 24,000, so it'd be 6,000.
is it 6 or 8?
It's 6.
God, I could have swore it was 8. So we got 6.
But I have another line item that you can move funds out of. If you want to come back with a budget amendment, I can come up.
Well, 6,000, you could look at like the 6,000 would pay down to $2,947. And then the parks fund could support that for their lights. So out of those two funds right there,
We don't have any
There's gonna
funding.
come a time you're gonna have to negotiate with the
That
power
wipes out
company.
the parks, but in the budget,
Make them put them
See,
on.
Parks and Recreation, we have some funds there, but we don't have anything after that. Once it's gone, it's gone.
yeah.
there's another line item in there that's projected, that's $21,000 was budgeted, and it's projected to come out about $12,400. So you could take it from that line item.
What's that for?
The attorney fees.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need it.
That's only one attorney fee line item.
We'll just pay for all of it out of that.
That face, I wish I could get a picture of that.
That on the agenda, can we talk about that?
So
That's only one line item that's, he's split in so many ways on here that.
Thank you for mentioning that.
But that would be one that there will definitely.
We could use the parks, we don't have any money, we won't have any more money to do anything.
Right.
And there's a little bit in the parks that's coming out.
You're talking about
because
for
such
the
a
park
grill.
itself, not for Wellington. You're talking.
Yeah, for the park itself.
But there's a grill that I think that I don't, hasn't been posted here yet.
Let me get straight here on what understanding. What we're doing at the park is for security reasons, not to light it up so folks at 2 and 3 a.m. can go out there and play baseball or basketball,
No.
because it is a neighborhood area. The other is I'm not against folks having street lights, and I guess in Wellington, since I'm sure they need them, but we need to be careful. They're not the only places in town that there's not street lights where there ought to be.
Well, there's not, on this one street though, Mr. Jordan, there's no lights at all.
I can take you to another street where there's not a street light on it.
Not at all.
Post Oak Road too. And I put up a big yard lamp 20 years ago to light up the area. And when the electricity goes off, power failure, it is dark on that street, isn't it, Shane? And Shane's got he's got a security light he burns. So I'm just saying, there's other areas in town here. They may not be in Wellington Point, but they're dark and they need street lights too. And we need to be careful that we don't do for one and not do for others.
I agree.
I just think the power company should pay for it.
That's what kind of scared me. I was looking at this other one when we were talking about it earlier.
Poles where a light could be put on in your neighborhood? Do they have any poles where a light could be?
ULEC.
The last one that was put up was there at the end of Post Oak there in Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
For the intersection?
Yeah, at the intersection. Yeah.
Y'all LEC over there? Y'all LEC over there?
Yeah. Really, see, yeah.
And see, that's what was worrying me a while ago when I was reading that, and if I read it right, when we were talking about the amendment to it, did it say that it needs to be every 400 foot?
Maximum.
It's a
Well, that's-
4-foot match.
And see, that right there is,
Awful close.
that's a lot of lights. If you broke out a tape measure, you wouldn't make it 3 or 4 straight before you're gonna need another piece of paper to keep count of how many lights that you would need. And so that kind of,
New edition, yeah.
that kind of gave me a little pause, but,
Of course, that's talking about a new edition
right,
going
right,
forward.
right. I mean, 400 foot is not very far when you start looking at a whole street. But,
That's just for new,
right.
or from this point on, not we take every street.
No,
we
no,
don't
no,
have it
no.
Now and put it every 400 foot, we just don't have it pulled, maybe that built.
Right.
I say we, look at the next budget to start taking care of these streets that does not have streetlights
Like yours or?
Well, I'm not so much
mine.
concerned about mine but I'm just saying, because it's not an issue for me.
We're
really.
just using yours as an
But-
example.
But there are other places in town,
Right.
in different parts of the city, that they're dark and there's no light. And
And I think we should,
we
I
need
mean,
to,
for public safety issues, start looking at whether they have poles or not, like Mount Olive don't have any poles.
Yeah,
no post
not all is a problem.
Post oak don't
Not
have
all is a
any
real
poles.
problem, 'cause there's no poles or nothing over there. There's some places that are dark, and there's streetlights there, but because of all the trees, the streetlights are kind of useless, really.
Right.
So shouldn't that be the utility provider to cut those back?
Should be utility providers issue to cut them back. We report them. Some of them get fixed, some of them don't. We report them again. We're always reporting streetlights. But I'll tell the guys to pay special attention to the places that are dark and don't have any lights, and see what we can do there. I'll have to look at. I've never heard a complaint about Post Oak. So
No,
I'll have to
it's
look.
lit, you know, I mean, to the extent that
From
we've
private.
got light over there.
It's lit from private. people.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to pay. They're gonna have money on that.
Then could we do, let's say,
Extra money, the LEC, and then they don't want to give anything back. I just think it's ridiculous.
could we do like a amendment for the EDC funds and the lawyer's funds for this?
Mr. Attorney?
What was that? I was over here talking about attorney's fees with Mr. McCarthy.
Yeah, well, that's what I just did. I just got it.
He just cut him under there. On
Sorry I
the,
missed it, maybe it was a diversion on purpose, I'm not sure.
no. Well, we're on N on the bids, and O is the budget amendment for the lights and gravel. Which the
No, that's
gravel, we
right.
had enough in there, so.
Yeah, you don't need a budget amendment for gravel, is what I
No,
understood.
yeah, we got
Just
that in
need
there,
it
so.
for streetlights.
legally
Right.
can require that.
So do you just want to do no action on
could.
N and then
Pass
take
the
care of it on
ordinance for
O?
the-
Yeah.
I think the Utilities Commission.
They want to do no action on N and then go ahead and read O?
I'm gonna take no action on N at this time. O is a budget amendment for lights and gravel.
So the 8,000 you have in your, for the parks and recreation, is that not an annual budget item?
We have no funding.
They usually, yeah, you try to put money in there for the parks, but yeah, that's the, you try to
Right.
put money in the budget.
I mean, we haven't
When you do
passed
the
it.
budget, yeah.
Well, we did that 8,000 last year.
No. Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
This is.
That's your fund.
Well, this is separate from
This is separate,
our
this is budget, yeah.
Oh, so y'all got more
Parks
money?
is
I got you.
different.
Okay.
Parks is
So there's
different.
more money in there?
The Parks and Recreation Committee has a nonprofit fund with the Northeast Texas Trail Association for when the trail, when they sold the benches and sold the doggy doo and all that to raise funds.
And that's what I thought we were talking about taking, and I'm like, that's.
Oh, no.
We
No,
can't use
no,
that.
that's,
No.
yeah, that's, the committee has that, which is
I
housed.
thought that was budget item. I just-
Yeah. Yeah.
Not bad.
You're over there going, don't use all my money.
So,
Yeah, that's housed in Mr. Wells' office. That isn't even out here. That money's not in the
Okay,
city.
that's what I was making sure of.
do we need to put the line item number on the, for the budget amendment, right? Okay, what was the other one you
I didn't
said?
draw up a budget amendment. The one is for the EDC for 6,000
Right.
and the remainder out of 0200 7260 attorney fees.
7260. Okay.
Because there's multiple attorney fee lines in there, but that's the one that will not be. I don't want people to think that that's.
He won't go to San Antonio then.
I knew it was gonna happen someday.
Okay. Well, we're on, correct? Then I move that we do a budget amendment for lights for the city park in the amount of well, that's for the complete 19. We won't need that many, so it would be $3,236.87.
$3,236.87?
Isn't that
Different
then we-
lighting, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Was it, for the LEDs, it was $47.30. Is that right, Chief?
473081.
It is 473081.
Okay, so that would be in the cost of $248.99 per light.
Stop.
Okay.
Where do we go?
We gotta get a digital.
For the LEDs.
LED.
He said 13, and that's under for 19.
Okay. So that would be for 13 lights instead of 19 lights at a cost of $248.99 apiece.
Okay.
And that would give a total of $3,236.87 for the lights at the park. And then a total of $5,711 for the lights for Wellington Point, using the line item 02-00-7282 in the amount of $6,000, and the line item 02-00-7260 in the amount of $2,947.87.
How much was that?
That's
29, what?
$2,947.87. That would be out of line item 7260.
And what was that last one for? The 2947?
That's for the remaining amount
For the budget amendment for the lights.
for the budget amendment.
I'll second.
We have a motion for the budget amendment for the lights for the park for $3687, for Wellington Point for $5,711, and for the remaining amendment, $2,947.87 by Councilmember Thomas, seconded by Councilmember Willows. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That was item O. That was item O.
That was what we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purchasing, item P, purchasing a new generator for the repeater at the city water tower in the amount of $4,454.76.
Mayor and council, men and women, this item here, this is part of the Homeland Security Grant 2014 that's been awarded to us. The repeater project is going to leave $1,649.47 left over. I've asked to use that toward a generator, and the grant management folks have granted that. I had the folks come out, look at the water tower with me and Jerry, Revis, the public works supervisor, about getting that installed and whatnot. Jerry expressed interest after talking to him about it, about helping out with that. The repeater's going to be installed in one of the buildings out there at the water tower there off Sugar Hill Road. There's some electrical equipment in there, some pumps that he needs. Doesn't operate them, I don't think at all, the water pumps. The repeater's going to be installed in that room. An 11 kW generator is going to be big enough to operate the repeater during power outages. Goes that electrical equipment inside that building, the ventilation system, and the pumps. If the event ever arises that we have to use those pumps, those water pumps. Public Works part of this project will be $2,805.29, which is the difference between the 44.54.76 number. To facilitate the propane fuel for the generator out of the PD fuel budget, have some extra funds in that. I'll buy the propane tank, 100-gallon propane tank, fill it up and maintain that through the PD fuel. We kind of want to work together on it. It's going to benefit Jerry just like it will benefit us. The repeater's going to benefit everybody once it's installed. And I wanted to go ahead and get this approved by the council. That way, once the repeater's done, we can go ahead and get the generator installed and get the project moving.
This repeater just gonna be for the city channel?
No, there's gonna be a new channel. It'll be repeated. It'll be for emergency operations basically. Okay, what I'm actually gonna name it, I haven't decided yet. But it'll be available everywhere. PD, fire, public works in the event they need it. Neighboring agencies, the county, Parish PD, they have communication issues when power goes out, as we all know.
So everybody be hitting our repeater?
Well, if they need it. It'll be available to them if they need it. A lot of the Paris Sheriff's Office, a lot of those have backup channels. We only have one channel and it's not repeated. The repeater's going to give us a repeated channel to operate, and this will give us the infrastructure to operate no matter what. It's something we don't have right now at all. If the power goes out right now, the city channels works off of mobile radio.
You still got that stuff still over there?
Still over there. If the power goes out, we don't have any way to operate.
Can it be moved?
It can be moved. It'll be that's something I'm going to look at next budget year. That's something I thought of.
That'd be good for y'all too.
Well, yeah, it'd be good for be good for a lot of people. That's something we didn't have during the ice storm, was good communications. Once the city channel went out because we lost power to everything, we didn't have anything. And this will help us out tremendously. And again, Jerry offered to help me out with it to get it done. Because like I said, it's going to benefit him and the rest of the city just as much as it's going to help us, emergency services folks.
Did he mention what he wanted to, how he's going to pay for it out of the system fund?
He didn't mention what.
It was in the office equipment software. There's money in there that he was looking at, and then there's also
Gotcha.
the water project construction, which there was never any.
But he's only got to pick up, what, 2,500 or 2,800?
2,805.
Okay, so
29.
he has that.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion. I'm sorry, you did.
No, that's all I got, unless y'all got questions.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, he got that funded and this funded.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the motion or approve purchasing the new generator for the repeater at the city water tower in the amount of $4,454.76. To be split, that's roughly that estimate, 1649.47.
No, that's the actual grant numbers. The actual dollars and cents left.
With the 2805.29 coming out of the system funds, do we need an amount to spend the grant amount? Do we need that? We have to make a motion for that? For the earmark? Okay. So just for the amount of $2,805.29 to come out of the system fund.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember McCarthy to approve the purchase of a new generator for the repeater at the city water tower, an amount of $4,454.76. And a second by Councilmember Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item Q, update on Public Works Building.
That item was asked beyond by council member, Public Works Supervisor Jerry has been working and looking into the prefab and different options, and he kind of he was requesting that be tabled, so when he's back here next month, he would have more for the council.
Could he put it on a workshop too, if we schedule a workshop? Okay.
How about put it on the agenda for next Monday?
You might be busy.
Huh?
It may be a packed house.
Well, I have to worry. Yeah,
Could be.
That'd be a good budget workshop item.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's definitely.
It would be a real good,
Well, I'll make a motion that we do table item Q, the update on the Public Works building till Public Works Supervisor Jerry Rose can be in attendance.
Second.
I have a motion to table the discussion and seconded by Councilmember Jordan on the update on the Public Works Building. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item R, Reno Cemetery located behind 6545 Lamar Road.
Mayor, I put this on the agenda. When I first learned about the Reno Cemetery, it instantly grabbed my attention, and Shay Thomas had told me some things that she had researched as far as its historical value. We went out and visited the cemetery, and needless to say, there's a lot of work to do. There really is. But one grave, from my research, I have found 32. There's about 32 graves out there. Men, women, children, everything. Not to take away from any of them, they're all equally important, but I saw Richard Beals. And Richard Beals, I gave everybody a little handout on the research that I have found from him. It is amazing. He was a World War I veteran. He had served with the 806th Pioneer Infantry. They were a very short-termed infantry. They were sent over to France to do a lot of the rough work, the trench digging, the recovering of soldiers, things like that. Mr. Beals was, I keep trying to say wagoneer, but it's actually a Wagner. His job was to transport for them while they were over there. He had to take care of the horses, the equipment, and transport equipment and everything. But anyway, he is a World War I soldier that we have buried out there. His headstone is still legible. It's very nice. It is damaged. It has been damaged over time. Sadly, there's a tree laying across his grave right now that I would really like to get cleaned up. But I would like to form a committee to get started. I know some work has already been done out there, and I would like to continue cleaning that, get a committee together to restore, preserve, and protect this cemetery. I researched, and there is no owner of the cemetery. There was no record through the county clerk's office. So I did, as a citizen and coming from a long line of military, I filed a notice of existence to get the cemetery protected until we could get something started. But on top of all this, Mr. Beals being there and the age of the cemetery, this fully qualifies for the State Historical Cemetery recognition, and with that, I can get funding to help us to restore the cemetery, restore the headstones, and do some beautification out there. I'd like to get a committee together to do this, and under the, with it being basically an abandoned cemetery under the Health and Safety Code, we can take it over as a city and restore the cemetery. And I wanted to see what the council thinks about this.
Would that be like an eminent domain to take it over? Like filing that somehow? Or-
Nobody. It's a public
Yes and
abandoned
no.
cemetery.
It feels that way, but if there's not already somebody owning it, and it's more like an adverse possession, we just kind of move in and take it
Right,
over.
as long as we have it for so long as ours kind of deal.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, it's the government come in and do it, but you said there was
There's
nothing on
nothing.
the record anywhere?
There's nothing. Mm-mm. It was a public cemetery that's been abandoned. And now a citizen can go in and try to file for conservatorship, I think is the word, conservatorship of the cemetery. But I would rather do it as the city, that way we know it's gonna be taken care of. We will make sure that it's gonna be taken care of. And like I said, you know, we have a World War I vet out there. This, and men, women, and children from this area, we need to restore and clean the cemetery up.
Is it accessible from any road?
No. No, but I found that too, which I would be willing to go myself and talk to the businesses about having access to it, because there's not a road, but I did find,
Offered access.
But it's not, it's not part of a deed now that's like owned by the Crazy House or Dale's Transmission.
well, I found in the Health and Safety Code that any person who wishes to visit a cemetery that has no public ingress or egress shall have the rights for visitation during reasonable hours and for purposes associated with cemetery visits. The owner of the land surrounding the cemetery may designate the routes for a reasonable access. Section 7110521 further states that interference with ingress or egress is a Class C misdemeanor.
As long as they grant us access.
Yeah, and I don't see that really being a problem. We don't have a road there. But that's, the hard part's going to be, we will have to get in there to clean up. And it's not going to be something that we can get a group of 10 people and go in there and clean up. It's
We
going
could
to be a
get
big
some, we could
job.
get some inmates to go in and clean it up.
Yeah, and volunteers. I'm planning up another cleanup event. If we could get a group to help work on that. And Boy Scouts, Girl
How
Scouts.
did you guys access it?
Yeah.
What?
How did you access when you went in there? Did you?
I didn't go into it.
Oh, you didn't?
See, Charlie Withers has a gate on his, and that's what, we either have to get like an agreement with him, or, because you have to have some kind of easement. And it would be straight across his land.
She just read the law.
Or, I mean, you could.
Yeah, but, and I know that
I've
he
always
would, I know,
accessed it the other way when you drive, but when we walked over there,
From
we
the-
accessed
in
it
the
by
neighborhood,
going
you know,
in.
Yeah.
off of Kenwood,
Back behind
the storage building.
Is it back behind those
Bill.
storage buildings
Roof
behind
hole.
Withers
Oh,
back
you went
there?
in through that
If,
way?
That's the best way to get to Richard Bill's,
If
where you can
Inwood
see
right here.
his stone. Is,
And
there's a
back behind,
bench
there's
back
some
there
houses.
that is so out of place. It looks like, why is it
And
even
then
there?
right here is the
Directly to the
storage
east of
building.
it, you can see Richard Bill's headstone.
and you can drive around behind
And I
these
can
storage
send y'all
buildings
more
right here.
information if you want more on the people. I've researched everybody that's out there. It's
Not through
amazing.
Bill's, no, there's no fence over there.
And
There's
there's a
a
little
fence on the
gate right here.
backside going.
Right here.
Right, there's a gate right here, and this
Crazy
is the
house.
road going behind those storage
I've
buildings.
already gone through and done all the paperwork
Right,
that's
dragon,
necessary. All I
that
have to
ring
do
dragon
is
put
get
right
the
there,
go-ahead.
and that brush.
I've got all the
And that
paperwork
brush
necessary
is
to
right there
submit
where
for
that
the
cemetery
Historical
is.
Society.
This is cemetery.
And once we get that, like I said, they give funding. They give grants for the fencing,
also-
restoring
I think I'll do
headstones,
that.
placing headstones for
I can't
the
remember.
cemetery, or for the graves that don't have a stone.
You know, and
They
this
help
is
with all of
Bill
that. It's a,
Rupert's
it's a lengthy process to get that. It's, they said it
That's
expect
Charlie
about a
Withers.
year
He put that up.
once you get the paperwork
And I
in,
remember
but
he said
we
that
could
he
do
put that
so
gate
much
there
for this.
because he knew of that cemetery.
As far as
He didn't want to
businesses,
block
I've
it
looked
off.
into like natural
So I think he's
landscaping
friendly enough to do
that
that.
will
I think
act
he would
as a
say,
fence,
okay.
like from
This
Miss
is
Nita's,
nothing really but.
that we could do on that side. So it looks really pretty and it's
Right.
clean inside, but it's
That's
also,
all
you
it's
know,
used for, so there shouldn't be any problem
that
going
side's
back and forth.
kind of fenced with.
Only at Christmas maybe.
What would be
with
a
all
good
the
way to?
decorations.
But he doesn't put anything in here, so.
Yeah. That would be an ideal
really
access,
hard part.
because you can get a vehicle in through there.
Right, and
There's not gonna
like
be a whole
here,
lot of
there's
traffic.
houses, so you would be walking in
Probably
between here,
not,
going in
you know,
between
I
that's
here.
mean, but I'm talking about like for,
This
to
is
get in there
more
and clean
ideal.
it up.
The best way.
The best way would be
Behind
through
Bill's, but-
Bill's,
But
yeah.
Bill's, if you came in behind Bill's though, now you gotta have access to it. So now you gotta go through his pasture in the back with the road. So now you gotta put in a gravel road. But if,
I was just talking about for the.
Cleaning.
For the cleanup,
Oh.
yeah. Because we don't have to have a
put in
road. If we
walking
could talk, and with it being designated historical, it may even bring some people in. If Crazy House, you know, we talked to them about people being able to make entrance to this side of it. They may go in and give some
Walking,
business,
you know,
yeah.
They're just walking access.
Because there are a lot of people really into genealogical things that would want to come out and see the historical site.
Right.
And a World War veteran, especially the 806th Infantry, that's very rare. That was a very short-term infantry for African Americans. That was where they were put, is in this infantry. And it's huge, huge in history. It's really interesting. And I have more information on the other people out there if anybody wants it. There's Miss Featherston and her two children out there. I've got stories forever. It's pretty awesome.
So what would be the first step in taking this over? Legal wise? I mean, is there?
I did a notice of existence already as a citizen, just because there was nothing there, and that gets it protected, and as far as just taking over, it's abandoned.
In order for the grant to come into play, does it have to be a governmental entity that's operating?
No. No, I can set up a committee, is what I was looking at doing. You can do it individually. Any citizen could do a committee and file for conservatorship. But I thought if we could do it as a city and form a committee, then we could go through that route. So I would love to take this on. I've put a lot of time into this research. It's fascinating to me.
I'd like to see the city recognize it as part of the city, and the city basically take it over.
Absolutely.
Is what I would like to see.
Yeah.
And that way, we could really get in there and get something done about it. And it needs to be done. And we've talked about it for a year, I know of. And we need to do something. So
We do. I mean, you look at this headstone's already damaged. It looks like a corner was broke off, maybe even from that fallen tree. I don't know how long that fallen tree's been out there. But we can't let it go any further. Something's got to be done.
Could the city file some sort of successor? Can you assign your certificate that you've signed individually? Can you assign that to the city?
I would imagine. I'll get with the clerk and see how we can do that. Sure can.
I think if the city's asking for easements and right-of-ways and promising to keep it up, if I were the landowner, I'd be much more likely to give into that as opposed to some individual saying,
I'd like to have that.
Right.
Would you like to give it to them?
Let me drive down into your pasture for a year or two and I'll make sure I'll clean it up.
Yeah, no. And really, like I said, all I filed is the notice of, sorry?
Existence.
Yes, notice of existence, bear with me. Notice of existence is all I filed.
And if we do take it over, I agree. I'd like to see a committee for the cemetery, because now we'll have two of them in the future. So I think that we need to have a real committee for the cemetery, just like we do the EDC or the street or anything like that. I think that it needs to be an official committee where all of us appoint someone from the council to the committee for the cemetery.
I agree, because I'd considered going to groups to see if they would want to do like a conservatorship to start getting something going, but then you don't know, they may take care of it for a year and then just lose interest, and, we really need to.
So, I mean, if we formed it, then we'd have it, and then we'd have officers for it, and then we'd even have some form of funding for it. So that would be my opinion.
Why don't you find out if you can't do that and see how we get in the city's name?
Okay.
And we can start from there, and I'll review that law that you read about getting an easement.
Okay.
And that way we can present that again on next month.
So we
and
need-
say, here's the battle plan.
So we need to table this right now.
I will take care of that tomorrow.
Okay.
Right. Then I'll go ahead and I'll move to table the discussion, I guess, on the Reno Cemetery for a committee and acquiring ownership of it until the next meeting.
Till the August meeting.
The August meeting.
August meeting.
So do you want me to hold the application for the historical? I've got it all done. All that's got to be done is sent. Just hold on to that.
Not unless you see a confusion or a problem transferring it between City of Paris.
That'd be my.
I mean, City of Reno.
Okay.
If you apply for it individually, can it go to the city? And that should take a
Right.
call.
Okay.
Find it out.
Did you apply by the city or?
Well, I'm sorry.
Did you apply by the city?
Oh, I haven't applied yet. I just got all the legalities. But I can send it to you, the application, if you want me to.
Do that.
Have you look that over and then we'll go from there.
We need a second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Thomas to table the discussion at this time until August on the Reno Cemetery located behind 6545 Lamar Road. Seconded by Councilmember McCarthy. All in favor?
Aye.
Item S, appoint one individual to serve on the street commission to fill vacant seat for a term ending June 2017.
Street Commission did not have any recommendations yet. I was going to wait until the next month to put this on here, but it was tabled to this meeting, so that's why it's back on. And I was waiting to try to get a recommendation from the Street Commission to bring it back.
They recommend anybody?
Not yet, no.
Therefore, do we have any recommendations?
No, but if anybody has any recommendations, anybody that's interested, just send me an email and I will contact them and talk to them and
Shane, you want to serve on street commission?
say no action.
No action?
Shucks.
Item T, set date and time for 2015-2016 fiscal year budget workshop or shops.
How about next Monday after the short council meeting that we're going to have?
Just like this short council.
Yes, well, we're hoping that we have. So would next Monday after the council meeting be okay for an hour?
You don't think it's going to wind up like this one we've got tonight?
No.
do you?
We don't keep it here from now.
So we'll
Same
just
hour?
have that next Monday, okay?
Depending on the length of
It's only
the
gonna
public
be
hearing.
one item. Yeah, only one item, though. I don't think it'll be that long.
I don't think it'll be an issue really.
Okay. Go into the next-
Maybe.
Item U, litigation, contract with Lamar County Water Supply. Mr. Mr. Hamilton?
First, my
The hammer. Is that the Texas hammer? It's a hammer.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter, we need to go back there to do.
Go into executive session.
We're gonna go into executive session at this time at 8:54 p.m. We return from executive session at 9:07 p.m. No action on the litigation. Move to item 11. A, monthly bills and purchase orders for June 2015. B, minutes for June 2015 city council meetings. C, financial update as of June 30th, 2015. D, monthly activity reports for June 2015 from the Police Department, Public Works Department, Reno Volunteer Fire Department.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve items 11A through D and subsections 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Jordan to approve consent items A through D, subsections 1 through 3, seconded by Councilmember McCarthy. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent items passed. Adjourn this meeting at 9:10 p.m.